Well, it's good to be back. A lot's changed in the few months since we've been away. One of which is that you, in a remarkable bit of one-upmanship, have become a baroness. Well, I have failed to become a parliamentarian of any kind. Tell us how it happened. Did you know it was coming?
Well, it's all been a bit of a shock, really. I mean, obviously, they did call me to say, would you be
Would you
okay
like to be a baroness?
with your name going forward? And I was like, yeah. Actually, when I got the phone call, I thought I'd done something really bad and I was going to get expelled from the party. I was like, oh God, I've tweeted. So I got a call from Sue Gray and I was like, oh my God, what have I done? I'm going to get suspended. I'm really sorry, Sue. And then it all kind of, it goes off to some commission and then I didn't hear anything again. And I was thinking, is this happening? Is it not happening? And I was told that I would get a good 2-3 days of notice because I hadn't told a soul. I hadn't told my parents, hadn't told my employers, crucially. So, and then I was actually interviewing Satnam Sanghera about his brilliant new book called Empire World. And we were talking about how terrible the British establishment is.
And then you get things through.
Literally, my phone started going mad. I was like, it looks like I'm joining the aforementioned horrendous British establishment. But Satnam gave it his blessing, so I feel okay. Yeah, so it's been a very lovely, lovely thing. Like I say, quite surprised, very chuffed, quite overwhelmed though. I did my induction day yesterday at the Lords, and it's a bit like being a sort of geriatric fresher.
Presumably in this crowd you're the youngest or one of the youngest.
I've been really wrestling with my advancing years and suddenly I feel but a slip of a girl again. It's fabulous. But I'm not even there were some really young, because in the same list that I was put on, Plaid Cymru put, I'm sure she's very good, 27, I think.
Yes, I saw that. The youngest one ever or something. Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously Boris Johnson put in a few quite young people.
Yes.
Charlotte.
So there's a little bit of youth amongst the...
There is a little bit, but I think I'm pretty young in the Labour group. But yeah, there's just a lot to take in, and it's a big responsibility, and I want to do it well, and I'm having a lot of anxiety. I keep waking up in the middle going, oh, what if I suddenly flog loads of dodgy PPE by accident and forget to... I'm like, oh my God. Then I'm like, I don't have access to that sort of facility.
I think you'll
should
be
fine.
And have you got a name? Do you have a Baroness of somewhere?
I do.
Tell us your name.
Drum roll. I'm going to be Baroness Hazarika of Coatbridge in the County of North Lanarkshire.
That sounds very grand. It sounds like you're about to raise an army to march on London. Excellent. And have you do you hire a mink? Do you have to?
Yeah. So when I went, I had lots of meetings yesterday, and I went into a room and a lady sort of grabbed me and said, we need to sort of measure you and your height. And then they were like, it's very funny. They were like, we need to get you kitted out for a robe. And they were like, are you having normal ermine or vegetarian ermine? And I was like, listen, I know people think I'm woke, but I'm having a full fat ermine.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's. I think that's appropriate for the Lords.
I think so.
You'd be too woke.
I think so.
Vegetarian.
But no, it's going to be very exciting. But I am feeling quite sort of daunted about it as well. And as you imagine, Twitter's been just joyful.
Yes, everyone's lots of congratulations,
just
and also
such warmth.
Yes, lots of people less warm about the prospect. Yes, I mean, I suppose the challenge for all of us is that the Lords is a bit of a strange place and probably does need reform, but at the same time you want good people to be in it. So.
And also, I would say this, wouldn't I? But now that I'm going in,
yes, no, it's actually don't touch it. It's fine.
It's all marvelous. No, it definitely needs reform. And actually, what was really interesting is many of the meetings I've had so far, even with people who are absolute stalwarts, are saying they understand that the reputation is pretty poor, outside. So they were like, it definitely, we've got to up our game and we've got to. But then I would also argue that away from obviously the important negative stories, the Michelle Moons and others and things like that, you look at something like the Rwanda bill and actually you think when our Commons is so wild at the moment, it is, I'm actually, and I'm sure many people are actually quite grateful to have a proper legislative check and balance and actual scrutiny. Because also you're in this paradoxical situation in the Commons where probably the kind of quality of people in the Commons is really, poor at the moment. The level of the debate is very poor. Also, they're not doing a lot, and the little that is going through is not getting a lot of scrutiny. Like, they are rushing stuff through.
Well, the big difference between the two is that in the Commons, the government controls the timetable, right? So it says we're only going to have 4 hours of debate about Rwanda. You only get 4 hours of debate, even if there's lots of concern or worry. Whereas in the Lords, it can go as long as people want it to go, and therefore you will have a long and proper debate about it, and you will get all the amendments people want to discuss will get discussed. So,
and you often do feel as though because the Lords it's less tribal than the Commons. You get very interesting, thoughtful interventions from, let's say, some Conservatives have made really interesting interventions on Rwanda, not to make a party political point, but just on like the rule of law and the sort of honesty about the situation. So, I mean, of course, I would say this anyway, but I think, it definitely needs to be improved. But I think we should also recognise that, particularly now, it's doing some quite useful work.
And it's unlikely to be an immediate priority for a Labour government, given all of the other things that we will come on to as being things that they have to, the challenges that they have to deal with.